Hello. There was some crazy problem with my technical stuff. Leave it to the technical pieces. They would be the ones to go wrong last minute. Here, let me see. I'm making sure the link, making sure everybody can find us. Say hi if you're here. Say hi if you're watching the replay. I am so excited to have you grab your pen, grab your paper, grab something to, yay! Hi, Renee. Grab something to write with. I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. My Zoom was giving me trouble. And so we're making this happen anyways. So tell me about your week. How's your week going? Are you excited about finally creating your 90-day game plan? I am so excited to help you with this. I'm not holding back. I want you to walk away with the clarity that you need, with the power that you need, with everything you need to be able to actually take action right away. So again, welcome. Let me make sure that everybody's here, or that everyone can find us. I know several people were freaking out a little because they couldn't find us. Let me see. All right. Excuse me. What's this? Let me see. So say hi again if you're here. I don't want, hey Gina. No, you're not late to the party. My Zoom was giving trouble, and so I'm giving it a second to so other people can join us. So you're just right on time. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm gonna put the link here. Let me make sure, so that we can get enough people to see us. So again, I'm super excited. Grab your pen, grab your paper. We're gonna be killing it over the next hour. My focus and my desire with you is for you to literally walk away with your game plan. So not with a lot of information only, and not with like spinning your wheels and an information overload. But if you know me, you know that I'm all about you getting results. So that's what we're gonna do. So again, say hi if you're here. Tell me your name. Tell me anything. Where are you joining us from? And so we're gonna get started super soon. We're just giving everybody a second because of the situation we were on. There you go. I have just people messaging me and texting me. That's why I'm taking a second again. So again, I'm excited. One of the things that I do want to tell you about as we're getting started is I have seen so many of my clients and so many of my people like literally get results from everything we're talking about today. And one of the big pieces for me is how can we help you to move to a place where you are not second guessing, where you're not all up in your head, but that instead you're actually like here and present and feeling like, excuse me, this is working, this is what I'm meant to do. I can see the results, I can see it happening. So a lot of that actually comes from you having a game plan, because you don't have to second guess, you're just taking action. So again, I'm just taking one more second to make sure that we have everyone here just because of the confusion that we have. So give me just 1 second. Let me see. Where is it? Where are you joining us from? What city or what country or whatever? Where is it that you're coming from? And let me see. So again, it's just gonna be 1 second, and I'm so sorry. Cool. Is CT Kentucky? Is that? Don't be upset at me if it's not. Tell me where why. Yay, near Macon. Gina, where is that from? What state are you? So I'm so excited. I know that there were a good number of people that were excited to join us. That's why I don't want to start without them, because we were messaging back and forth and talking. But here's something that I want you to know. So what I was saying earlier was, a lot of the time what I saw with my own business is that whenever I was freaking out, whenever I didn't know what to do, whenever I am like, this is my goal, but I'm not sure how to make it happen, I would struggle and I would spin so much. But whenever I started like actually taking action and creating the things that I needed to create, and only focusing on a small group of things that was actually going to get me to the results that I wanted, everything started happening. Everything started moving forward. And that's the same thing that I want for you. So let me see live now. I'm just making sure that everybody knows, guys. But I promise once I start, we're not gonna stop. Free workshop. This is my last one. 4 steps. There you go. I'm just making sure that everybody has the link. So, super. I'm like laughing, and at the same time, I'm like, why is this happening? One of the things that ended up happening today, it was like everything was going well. And I'm like, oh, everything is going really good with all the internet and all the different stuff that we had set up. And then, of course, this one has to happen. So I am sending this to everyone. And again, so here's part of what I know. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Say hi if you're watching through Facebook. If you're watching through Facebook, it would be best to come in through Zoom, so that you can ask me any questions, so that I can bring you online. And so you can join us. So that's going to be pretty awesome. So here's the thing. Here you go. Now I can send this and not feel guilty that I didn't send it to everyone. So here's one of the things that I want to talk about, that I want to start right off the bat. One of the things that I want to ask you is, what is it? Let me see if it, there it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Okay. So it's sending the message so everybody can find us. And then let me see. Yay. And again, this is just crazy. Okay, so now I think we're ready. I think we're ready. So here's one thing that I want to jump in right away. I want to help you get super focused, super in alignment. Connecticut. Ah, yeah. Awesome, Connecticut. I love it. So I know those of you that are here, say hi again if you're here. I'm gonna have my the chat open so that I can see you, so that you can ask me questions live as we go. I want to give you time to actually work the process. Brian, woo-woo, I'm so glad you were able to make it. We just sent the link. Cool. Let me make sure. So here's the thing. Can you guys hear me? Can you tell me if you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Are we good? Can we get started? I think that whoever's not able to join us now, I'll just let them watch the replay. But okay, so I'm excited. I'm excited to dive in. I'm excited for us to make things happen. Here's my goal with you tonight, because I want you to be clear on this. So whatever it is that you have been divinely guided to do, it is something that is really connected to the goal that you're trying to hit right now. And so the more clear you are on this, the easier it is going to be for you to actually make things happen fast. The easier it's going to be for you to get that you get to have this right now. And why? And so what happens a lot of the time, and this is the reason why I was like, I need to create this quick this workshop where I am actually helping you get clear, where I'm helping you take action. And then guys, I don't know if you mind looking inside my Facebook group, if one of you is in there. I know if it's not gonna confuse you. If it confuses you, let me know. Hey Sean, that sounds good. I'm so glad you're here. I'm giving everybody an opportunity to join. But I think it's okay to get started since we've been here for a few minutes. And again, if you're watching the replay, you can still ask me questions. You can still let me know anything that you want to know, or any questions that might come up for you. One of the big deals that I find and that I feel that sometimes we're not clear about, which is the reason why we end up spinning and spinning and freaking out and wondering why we're not hitting our goal, or sometimes we don't even go for the big goals we would go for. I'm just making sure we're here, guys. Can you tell that I'm like, why did it not work? So here's what I want you to see is live streaming inside the Facebook group. Let me copy it here. So here is what I have found, or here's what I find. A lot of the time, whenever we are trying to figure out what is it that I'm supposed to do, or whenever I have a goal and I'm not sure how I'm gonna go for it and how I'm gonna like actually kill it, here's what ends up happening. We start doing a bunch of stuff that might not be in alignment. What I want to help you do over this next 90 days, and especially in this next hour that we're going to be working together, is to actually have a game plan so you can feel really good about moving forward. So here's the thing. As long as you're spinning your wheels and you're freaking out about whatever it is, and you don't feel that you have a certain level of clarity, you are going to have to be in constant switching mode, meaning at times you're going to be like, yeah, I know that this is what I'm meant to do, and then at other times you're going to be freaking out, and then at other, like, and so you lose a lot of momentum by having to go back and forth. So tell me in the comments if that makes sense. I am looking here to make sure that you guys get what we're talking about. Does that relate to you? Like, does that connect with where you're at and what you're seeing? That if you were to have a game plan, a simple, solid game plan, which I'm going to share my 4-step with you, I feel that this is going to really help you create the momentum that you need. It would be so much easier because you would wake up every day knowing this is, yes. So you would be like, this is what I need to focus on. This is what I know I'm meant to do. And it's going to be so much easier. So here's one of the things that I see with a lot of my clients. As soon as we have a game plan, it's like all of a sudden your brain is able to lock in on your goal. Until you don't have the game plan, what happens a lot of the time is that your brain is trying to figure out the how, and so you cannot fully get behind your desire, your goal, the thing that you're doing. So here is one of the things that I want you to know. The first thing that we need to do, and we're going to jump straight in again, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about how is it that has affected me, because it has honestly changed my life. Those of you that know me, those of you who are in any of my programs or who has been my clients, you know that I'm really big on game plan. You know that I'm really big on execution. And here's why. The more we think about what you want to do, the less we're actually going to implement it. Once you have that level of clarity, once you have the level of focus that you need, you're going to begin to implement, which is going to be what's going to get the results. So that's why my first step and the first thing that I want you to focus on, it's going to be to get clear on what your goal is. So I want you to stay with me all the way so that you don't miss this piece, so that you don't miss these pieces that are so important. So so for example, here's what I mean with this. So whenever you get clear on like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm working on, or oh my gosh, this is exactly the thing that I know I'm meant to do, or oh my gosh, I know that I'm meant to do this. What happens is, and this is a really big one, you begin to move into action and you begin to move into implementation. I brought you on so that I could at least see you, so that I'm not like talking to myself just only on the screen. So, woohoo! All right. So here's the thing. Whenever we get clear, what it does, there's in your brain, and some of you know that my background is psychology, there's something in your brain that is called the RAS system. RAS. You can write it down if you want so that you can Google it later. So here's the thing that happens with the RAS system. And here's an example of how your RAS system works. Whenever you have actually, let's say you buy a car. Before you bought that car, you had never seen that car before. All of a sudden, you buy that one car and you start seeing it everywhere. Your RAS system, it's God gave you that system to help you do this, to help you get focused without going crazy. So we have so many different stimulus and so many different stuff going on all the time. And what ends up happening is that because of the RAS system, we are able to block the noise, to block the things that are not working. And the same thing happens with the goal. Once you say, for example, I'm going to set the goal that over the next 90 days, I will start making my 5 to 10K months. Your brain is able to lock in that goal. Like if that is the thing that you're meant to do. So it's going to start seeing everything that you need to see. And it's going to start giving you the ideas. It literally shuts down everything else. So I want you to get clear on that. That's the main reason why you need a goal. It can be like, I'm just going to see how many clients I'm going to get over the next 5 days. Or I'm going to see how many, whenever you have, and this is the part where I'm going to help you. Whenever you set the goal, the brain is able to block the rest of the noise. So one of the reasons why people struggle so much with their mindset around growing their business is because they don't have a clear goal. So the lack of having a goal makes your brain go crazy and freak out. What is it that she wants? What is it that he's going for? And you go into that, what we like to call analysis paralysis, because your brain feels like, I don't even know what she wants. I know we're supposed to be doing something, but I'm not sure what. Once you set that goal, the brain is able to block limiting beliefs that are against your goal. Your brain is able to get clear on ideas. And so you begin to identify ideas. This is what's going to happen too, that it has happened to me and to a lot of my clients. You start dreaming of new ways and ideas on how to actually make that thing happen. Why? Because your brain knows that is what he wants or that is what she wants. So I want you to take a second and just write down, what is your goal between now and the next 90 days? In your case, if you were looking today, we could say that we're talking about between now and Thanksgiving. Let's say it that way. Imagine that is Thanksgiving in the US, right? For those of you in the US, if you're not in the US, it's the last Thursday of November. So we're talking about November 29th. And again, play around with it depending on when you're watching this. But if you were saying, oh my gosh, I'm sitting at the table with my family on Thanksgiving, and we're going around and we're saying the reason we're thankful for the last 90 days or for this last year, what will need to come out of your mouth for you to say, this was the best year of my life? That is the goal we need. And so some people ask me, okay, Pachi, so I know that I want to start doing 6 figures as soon as possible. So should I set a 6 figure? Here's how we know how to kind of angle the goal. I want you to think about what is a realistic goal for you. If it's something like that, whatever, if you showed up, if you went at it, if you worked your butt off, a goal that you know you could achieve. And then to that goal, I want you to add, to either add like 50% over or to double the goal. So here's what I mean. If you said, I know that I can hit, for example, $5,000 months, if I get clear, if I do this, if I do that, I know that I can show up for that. If that is your case, then what I would ask you to do is, okay, so if you're saying you can do 5, I would push you to 7 or to 10. And here's why we do this. Whenever you said just the one, and this sounds contradictory, but here you're going to see what I'm talking about. Whenever you said a range, right? Like the minimum I'm going to do is the number that you wrote down. The minimum I'm going to do is that. I'm going to shoot for double that. Does that make sense? So if you did 5,000, you're going to say, my lowest is going to be 5,000. My, oh my gosh, this was awesome, it's going to be 7,000. Like, oh my freaking goodness, this would be the best year. I'm going to do 10,000. So what's going to happen is this. If we were to only set the 5,000, here's what your brain's going to do. It's going to start doubting. Can you really do 5,000? You know what I mean? Can you really get that many? When we double it, all of a sudden the brain goes, okay, I can at least do 5,000. So that's how we trick your brain into, listen, I'm saying that it's at least this. Even better if you double it. So tell me in the comments if that makes sense. Let me bring this shot up. Does this make sense for you? Here, I'm closing this. Tell me in the comments if that makes sense so that we can move to the next step. I'm trying to find, make sure that if there's anyone in the Facebook group, they can find us. And again, if you're watching the replay, sorry guys for the confusion with the tech stuff. I know that I think I had counted at least 25 people that were joining us, but you guys can watch the replay and ask me any questions. All right, so yes, it does. Awesome. Okay, so now that we have that goal, here is the difference between, and Sean, we were talking about this earlier, but like here's the difference between what most people teach about whenever they're talking about mindset versus what actually works. Whenever you're working your mindset, you never want to work your mindset thinking about all of the problems that you could have. You never want to ask, like, what are my limiting beliefs? What are my blocks right now? What are my, because every human being, I love it, Gina. Yeah, why is that? We're so good at teaching it for other people, and then for ourselves, we're like, oh, what should I? So I totally get it. Totally get it. So here's the thing. With the mindset piece, one of my biggest frustrations with the way that most people teach it is that they talk about in general, right? Like, I'm a mindset coach. You're starting to work with me. And I'm like, what are your limiting beliefs? Here's what's going to happen. All of the crap you have in your head is going to come flooring up. And so that's why most people have so much resistance, because they think about, what are my blocks in my business? That I'm not good enough, that I'm overweight, that I'm this, that I'm too dark, that I'm too light, that my hair's not cut, that like everything comes up. It would be impossible for us to focus right now in all of your blocks because it's not going to allow you to take action. On the other hand, if you say, what are my blocks for hitting this 5 to 10K month? So right now, these are the 2 steps that we need to work on before we actually start creating your full game plan. So the second step, which is the step that I want you to think about, is, so what is it that would keep me? This is the question. What would keep me from hitting that goal? What would keep me from hitting this goal? It's kind of the way that I want you to ask this question. And here's the reason why. When you ask yourself that question, what would keep me from hitting the goal? Remember that I was telling you from the beginning that what we want your brain is to be able to focus, to lock in on this goal. by doing this and only asking about, it's almost like you're saying, if this is the way, if this is like my whole business and going to 5K, it's right here. I don't want to know about any other blog right now, brain. Just give me the key to get in through this gate. Do you see what I'm saying? So we use this all the time. It's almost like whenever you're actually cleaning your house, that if you start cleaning the entire house, you're gonna get overwhelmed and you're not gonna do anything. But if you start just cleaning up one room at a time, you start getting excited and you start moving forward. So most people's blocks are in two areas. They are internal blocks and they are external blocks. So let me give you just a couple of examples and tell me if you get what I'm talking about. Tell me like that makes sense, or like give me, okay, this is my block. I'm gonna ask you in a second. But the internal blocks are more around self-doubt and fear. These are the two main ones. Is self-doubt, and self-doubt shows up as, am I good enough? Do I have enough? Do I know enough? It leads to comparison. It leads to a lot of those things. So a lot of that has to do with that, with all of the doubts that might come up on your ability to hit the goal. The fear side of things, it's more around the failure. Do you see what I'm saying? So the doubt, it's more around what you don't have or what you are not, or the things that you feel that you're lacking to be able to hit the goal. A lot of the time, the fears are more around the execution of the goal. So like if I take those steps, I might not hit my goal. I might fail. I have fear of failure. I have fear of this. I have fear of da-da-da-da. So those are the two big blocks that you're going to find yourself pushing. Here is the way that I want you to see it if you're going to actually be able to bust through the blocks. Again, if you're just looking at the blocks and looking at them for the sake of like working on your mindset and transforming whatever it is, you're going to start thinking, I need to convince these blocks. This is where the problem is. Whenever you're doing mindset thinking, I need to convince these blocks to move. I need to transform my thoughts to these other thoughts. And you're thinking, I cannot take action until these thoughts move out of the way. You get stuck because most of those thoughts would, like all of us have them. Here's the way that I see myself and most people I work with actually hit those thoughts and go for it like crazy. It's actually realizing those thoughts are like enemies that are currently living in your promised land. So if the promised land for you right now in the next 90 days was 5 to 10K months, those enemies, one of your enemies, doubt and fear, are actually owning the land. Do you see what I'm saying? So you don't need to hang out with them. You don't need to convince them to move. You don't need to beg them to move. You need to get them to move. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like whenever you're like not hanging out with you, not interested in what you have to say, you got to get the heck out of my way. That is the attitude that's going to help you bust through those blocks. If you are like just passing yourself so warm shoulder kind of thing, you're going to get stuck because the blocks are going to convince you that they're stronger than you, that they've been here since before you had an idea that they were here, that it's going to take them 5 years to move out of your way. Like, has that ever happened to you? Like, whenever I used to do the blogs that way, that I'm like reading limiting affirmations, I see myself with 5K. I see myself with 5K. And I literally felt like in my mind, something would be like, yeah, right. Or shut up. You know what I mean? Like, who are you? Like, it was literally like if I was having a fight, these thoughts are owning my space and I would feel powerless over them until I started realizing that's the reason why they work. The reason why those limiting beliefs work is because they like to intimidate you into thinking you cannot make them move. But the reality is that is your mind. And you control your thoughts. And here's the last thing I would say before we move forward. Think about anything that you consider disgusting. Something that would make you throw up. Some of you might have some pet peeves. So this might be a really gross one. Hopefully it's not going to gross you out. But I just really want you to see this. So in my case, one of my biggest pet peeves or thing that would have me like throwing up right away is seeing someone else throw up. Like I cannot see someone else throw up and keep it chill. I can help you with anything else, but if there's throw up involved, I'm gonna be joining you. I don't entertain throw up thoughts in my mind. I do not. A thought of throwing up, hey Coral, a thought of throwing up could show up in my mind, and guess what happens? I shut it down. I shut it down right away. I don't have to think about the thought. I don't have to see if the thought is in agreement with me. Hey, my love. I don't care. You gotta go. You gotta move, right? That's the way I want you to start looking. Hey, Brian, I'm glad that we can see you. That's the way I want you to start looking at any kind of limiting belief. If a thought comes in and the thought is saying you cannot hit the goal, the thought is a lie. The thought, it's coming from the enemy. The thought, it's coming from, does that make sense? The thought is coming from the enemy who doesn't want you to have what God has for you. And so my question is, what are you going to do about the thought? What are you going to do? Are you going to hang out with the thought? When you realize, holy cow, these enemies have what is mine, because this is what I want you to get as we're moving into the actual game plan. What I want you to get is this. That idea that you have, here's how it works. Because once you get this, I feel that this is where my heart exploded. And I started getting clients and I started moving faster. And it was like, what is going on? How am I growing so fast? Why do I have all this momentum? Here's when it happened. When I realized that the number I was choosing was connected to the number of people God was calling me to serve in that period of time. Do you see what I'm saying? So like, for example, I would think, oh, $5,000. Normally that $5,000 was connected or is connected to the number of people you are called to impact right now. So here's kind of how I trick my brain into seeing it. If I don't hit my goal, it means I didn't reach the number of people I was called to reach in these 90 days. If I don't hit this goal, it means I didn't fully show up for the people that I'm supposed to help in these 90 days, which means that there are people that are struggling with the thing that I was given to help them with right now. Does that make sense? So that would put that fire on my butt that this is not just about me. It's not like, oh, I'm going to pay that credit card later on, or, oh, I'm going to do that other thing. No, there are so many other people involved, and me hitting this goal means that I'm reaching everyone and that I'm playing out. So number one, clarity on the goal. We already talked about that. Number two is, what are the enemies, the potential enemies that could be trying to intimidate you from taking action to that goal? That's the way that I want you to see it. The external ones, the external blocks that most of us would have right now could be around, I don't know who's going to buy what I have to offer. I don't know anyone that would pay for this. Do you know what I mean? Anything that has to do with other people taking action. And so here's the way that I want you to see it, a way that really has supported me with moving faster. Whenever you create an offer, and that offer is in alignment with your ideal clients, and you have looked at the price, so the price and the offer are in alignment, whatever it is that you're putting out, the way to see it is, money doesn't come from clients, it flows through clients. Money doesn't come from your current job. Money flows through your current job. So it really doesn't matter who it is that's going to end up buying the program or buying the offer or buying the product. That is not your business. That is God's business. It's your job to show up and be loud enough. This is the little secret here. You have to be loud enough, and loud doesn't mean screaming. It just means that you're able to magnetize them, which is the next thing that we're talking about. And as you're magnetizing, God is working in their hearts to realize that's exactly what you were praying to me about last week. That's what you were crying about last week. You see what I'm saying? This is the answer that you've been looking for. So you're doing your part, they're getting the other part on the other side. Does that make sense? Give me some yes or put, yeah, cool. So clarity, we got the clarity. We know that the blocks are only trying to intimidate you. It doesn't matter what the blocks are. They got to move out of the way because you have a calling and a thing to do and people to reach. So now that we have that, we move to this third step, which is the step where we're actually creating the game plan, which is the strategy. What is the super simple strategy that we're going to follow that's going to allow you to hit that goal? And so here's where like the rubber meets the road, because at the beginning it was more like working internally, getting clear on you. Now these last two steps are really focused on service and in other people. Here's the part where a lot of us make the mistake. We stay focused on the number and on ourselves. But in reality, the way that it works to hit goals faster, and I feel that to quantum leap, especially in business, here's kind of how it works. You get clear on what your goal is. You surrender the goal. Like, this is what I will get for serving these people. So you surrender the goal and you take on the service. So the more busy you get on the service side, the easier it is for your goal to be, you know what I mean, taking place. So here's what I mean with that. Whenever we're looking at your strategy, I want you to see it as a cycle. So if you want, you can create, let me give you, and I have my PowerPoints, but I wanted to see your faces today. So that's one of the reasons. Let me show you. So can you see this? Do a circle like this if you want it. And so in this circle, it's a 3-step process. And this is a step process that I have used to hit 5K months, to hit 5K days, to hit 10K months, 10K days, 10K weekend, like, you know what I mean? To do the 80 clients that I've had in this last 12 months, this is the same 3 steps that I have done. So the first step is attract. And so attracting, I'm writing them down so that I can show you. So attracting, it's all about your core message. A lot of the time people are like, how do I attract people? So we're getting into the marketing, right? The strategy, the marketing, the idea. How am I going to attract these people? How am I going to engage these people? And how am I going to convert these people? Any program I launch, any offer I do, anything I do, it's just following that cycle. How do I attract you? How do I engage you? And then how do I convert? So every single day, every 90 days, every week, every time I'm looking to get a client, that is the client cycle that we're going through. How do I attract them? How do I engage them? How do I convert them? That's the cycle. And so I want you to tell me really quick, if you can tell me in the chat, about how many clients. You don't have to tell me the number or like the amount of money, but do you have an idea about how many clients do you want to get? Just so that I know what we're diving into, because like I said, I want the strategy to be really connected to you. So if you can put in the comments, how many clients would it mean, or would you need to be able to hit your goal, your 90-day goal? How many clients do you need to hit your 90-day goal? Sean, 30, Coral, 20, 3. Cool. 6, perfect. Renee, 100, awesome. Who else? Brian, you can tell us now, you can tell us later. If you're watching on Facebook, you can also tell me, and I will, let me see if anybody here have said, okay, 5, perfect. All right, so here's the thing. Now that we know the amount of money you want, now you have to shift all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your passion, all of your excitement into this number of clients you just told me about. So every day, whenever you're praying for your business or whenever you're thinking about your business and stuff, begin to pray for these people before they come in. Think about, what are they struggling with today? What are they crying about today? Do you know what I mean? Why are they about to go on a freak out session in the bathroom or wherever, or in the car today? Because here's the thing, selling your program, and I want you to really listen on this, selling your program does not get you clients. Because most people don't wake up thinking about, how am I going to spend $15,000 today, right? Like, how am I going to spend $1,500 today? However much your program costs. Nobody wakes up thinking about how they're going to spend money. Most people are actually thinking, I cannot spend more money until Christmas so that I can pay for the gifts, right? Or I cannot do this. So that most people are thinking about it this way. Here's the thing that your people will pay for. They will pay for the solution they have to have before the end of the year. So that's what you're selling. What you're selling is not your program. What you're selling is the solution they have to have before the end of the year. So when you get that, all we know, here's kind of the easiest way to see it. Your people have a goal they must hit before the end of the year, or they're going to sit down in their bathroom December 31st crying that this year wasn't good enough. They're going to freak out on the December 31st that another year went by and they didn't do the thing that they said that they were going to do. They're going to freak out that the relationship that they wanted, if you're a relationship coach, and Gina, I don't know what you do. Do you want to tell me really quick? And everyone, if I don't know you, tell me here really quick what you do. Or why don't we all say it? Just like if you're a clarity coach or whatever it is, in just a few words, put it here in the chat so that I can, again, be more specific. Awesome. So if you're a business coach, can you tell me really quick kind of like what do you do with your people? What's your main focus? Clarity and success coach. Also, awesome, Sean. So here's what I want you to think, is so that we can get more clear. So let's say I like using the weight coach, like the fitness coach, because it's easy for everybody to get behind it. Let's say that you are a fitness coach, which we're going to use exactly with yours, but this is just an idea. Cool. Awesome. So it's like people starting out their businesses. Are they service-based businesses or any kind of business? Service-based? Cool. So here's the thing. We know that Gina's clients, if they get to December 31st and they have not launched that business, they might have a mini depression. Do you see what I'm saying? They're going to be like, another year went by. I told everybody I was doing this, and heck, I didn't do it. Sean, the same thing. Another year spending money in my business, doing all this stuff, and all these freebies and all this crap, and I don't have one client to show for it. Coral, like the same thing. I am at my job, right? December 31st, I am at my job. I didn't jump on board. Now it's too late to join the tax preparing for 2019, right? Like, this is just too much. I'm not going to be able to do it. Another year having to wait. Brian, like the same thing, right? Like based on your thing. So whenever you're thinking about it, it's like that client who wants to lose 30 pounds, or who have said that they wanted to lose 30 pounds, is December 31st, and they're having to buy a new dress. I want you to like feel it. They're having to buy a new dress. Coral, what is that? Are you trying to show me something? Like, what is she doing? What is he doing? All right, so she's just trying to cover her face. All right. Okay, so here's the thing. That client is having to go and buy a new dress, and as she's buying this new dress, she's crying because she couldn't use the clothes that she had set up last Christmas to use this Christmas. Can you feel that? Can you like feel how like the pain, does that make sense? The pain that that person could feel. I want you to think about your person, December 31st, and write down really quick, what are some of the feelings and the words she's using because she didn't hit her goal or he didn't hit the goal. So to give you an idea, Gina, in your case, it would be, what would happen for these service-based entrepreneurs who got to December 31st and they still have the business as an idea and didn't launch? Sean, the same thing, no clients, another year, $10,000 or $15,000 or however many $1,000 invested and nothing to show for it. Coral, the same thing, right? Like, I want you to write down, don't make them up here. Really tell me, like, so here's an idea for me. Whenever I think of my client and my client didn't hit, for example, the 5 to 10K month, that client is freaking out because the credit card bills are coming in and they do not have money to pay it. Do you see what I'm saying? They just bought a crazy amount of Christmas gifts for their kids that they said they were going to buy. They said to themselves last Christmas, I'm buying all of this cash next year. And they're having to put it on a credit card again. I can see her fighting with her husband because the husband is saying, you have to get a job. I gave you this last year. The business didn't happen. We cannot handle you following this pipe dream. Can you feel it as I'm talking? It's like, oh my gosh, I could cry by just like getting into her heart. That is what's going to allow me to attract my client. Talking about, have you downloaded 10,000 freebies? Ain't going to cut it, because that's what everybody's saying. Right? Are you tired of da-da-da-da-da? Like anything that she is like, I'm so done with all this BS. I'm so done with everybody trying to sell to me. I'm trying to sell someone something and everybody's saying, I'm not listening. So my ideal client right now is in like a no crap zone. Probably unsubscribing to a bunch of people's emails. Do you see what I'm saying? Cutting, like signing off a number of Facebook groups because she's getting frustrated. So I want you to think about, where is your person at? Because here's the thing. Remember what I told you about your RAS system at the beginning of the training? Your client has a RAS system too. And so her RAS system right now that she's getting to the end of the year, it's really going into focus, stop spinning, stop playing around. Do you see what I'm saying? There is an urgency. Sorry. Sorry, guys. So that's what I want you to realize. So for you to attract this person, the secret of attracting your person in the next 30 days is stopping her in her tracks, because you're talking about what you just identified. So the more clear you get, and the more you can get an emotion out of that client whenever she's reading your post or whenever she's reading whatever it is that's going on, the more her brain is going to say, stop, look at that. Because remember, there's a bunch of people talking on social media. And so it's just like us. While she's looking around and scrolling, what is it that you need to be talking about to attract her? It's going to be whatever's going to stop her RAS system. So that, again, it's all about your message. Normally the message, if I could simplify, if someone told me, okay, give it to me straight, how do I know what my message is? Your message is really simple. Are you blank? Wanting blank, struggling with blank. That's your message. So obviously we can get more fancy than that, but when we are talking about like the basic of your message is, are you this person wanting this, but have this block in front of you? So for example, Gina, if I was looking at you and your people want, they're having to go back to a 9 to 5 that they hate, right? So like I would be, have you recently started your business? Money's not coming in, so you're having to go back to your 9 to 5. Or are you currently, or have you recently launched your signature business or your service-based business? And if clients don't come in the next 90 days, you're gonna be handing resumes by January. Like do you see what I'm saying? Nothing and no one can fake that kind of messaging. And there's no way for someone who's already thinking about, freaking crap, I'm gonna have to start updating the resume. There's no way for them to see that kind of messaging and to not stop. It's impossible. It's impossible for someone's head to be on fire. They see a bucket of water and they're like, no worries. So I think that you got that point for all of you. Let me see what Sean is saying. She feels like another year down the drain. She would feel discouraged and she would want to call it quits. Exactly. Yep, that's really good. So she doubts it's ever going to happen for her. Yep. So Sean, there's your message. Are you getting ready to call it quits? Can you imagine, like, if that's exactly what's happening in my mind, and you're coming in and you're talking to me from that angle, I'm like, dang. It's impossible. Whenever you call it out, people see you as the leader. So here's what happens next. Which, Sean, this is perfect because this leads directly into it. So here's what happens next. Once we have your core message, which is, are you blank, wanting blank, struggling with blank? It's literally helping people see, I know you want to get to this island, but you're currently struggling to cross that bridge. That's when we position your program as the bridge. So if you're just selling the program, that's why it doesn't sell. The program has to fit, the program, the offer, whatever it is, it has to fit as the bridge, the answer, the plane to the problem. So don't just serve the problem. Don't just sell your program, sell the solution to what she's looking for and angle to the fact that I have a boat that's going to, don't go back to the 9 to 5. Let's kill it over the next 90 days. Do you see what I'm saying? I know that you're about to call it, for example, I know that you're about to pull out that resume to update it and start passing it out if you don't get clients by the end of the year. You have my attention. What if there was another way? Got my attention again. So you're not talking to the general public. You're not talking to everybody. That's why a lot of the time I can tell you, whenever I see posts or I see stuff that have like 10,000 likes, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that that person is selling. That person is getting a lot of, there's two kinds of posts. There's sympathy likes or comments and engagement, and there's empathy. We want empathy, because empathy means this, I get what you're going through, or I get what you went through, you get what I'm going through. It's like that kind of connection. So here's the thing. If, for example, Gina is telling me, I know you're about to pull out that resume, I have a solution for you, and Gina offers something to me where we can talk, or something where she can take me through the steps, I'm signing up, because I finally see the bridge or the solution. So here's the thing. So that's the step one, attracting. Here, and then you're like, okay, so what's the difference between the message and the marketing? So without getting super technical, I love explaining it this way because I feel that it makes it easier. So the message, your message, the core job of your message is to stop people in their tracks. That's like the first part. It's really clear. This is who I'm talking to. People who need this kind of plane to go to that destination, this is your way. Here's what the marketing does. What your marketing does is that it actually helps the person see that what they're trying to do is possible for them. So the core message, your core message, which is normally like your branding message, the thing that you're standing out for, what it does is attracts people. Now your content, the content marketing, is what moves them to the second stage in your strategy, which is engagement. So once you got my attention, if you don't have the marketing that I need, that's normally when people click off, go away, right? Like don't follow, you don't buy. So one of the biggest jobs we have is getting people through the entire cycle. So if you have a lot of people signing up for your freebie or for your opt-in, but they don't do anything else, it means that you have a strong message. Does that make sense? But that your content marketing is weak or can have some stuff. So you're like, okay, so then how do I do it? Nobody's going to buy unless they can actually see that they can do what you're saying they can do. So for example, if I have, Gina, let me ask you, how much money is your 6-month coaching? If you don't mind telling me. So just use it as an example. So let's say nobody's going to pull out 6K, their last 6K, right? Just because we're being fun and you're saying, let's do this, don't quit, don't go back to your 9-to-5. They have to believe it in their brain and see, oh yes, I can do this and I can make this money back, for them to be able to pull the trigger. So this is where your marketing comes in. Our marketing's job is actually to convince that person and to help that person see, to shift their mind, to believe that what you're saying and what you're selling is possible for them. And so you're like, and how do I do that? The engagement piece is all about building know, like, and trust. And so you're like, how do I do that? Because everybody talks about know, like, and trust, know, like, and trust. What does that really mean? So here's what it means. Cool. 95% referral. I love it. Which means that people are already coming into you, seeing you as the expert, which is awesome. Perfect. That is really good. All right. So here's the thing. How then do we move them faster, and how do we engage people? Because if you're using referrals as well as the online marketing, then you're able to double or increase your results, because you're not only having to reach out to people for them to refer people to you, but you can actually have people reaching out to you for support. So the way that looks is that in your engagement, we're talking about a couple of things. We're talking about, number one, the goal that they have that you have already accomplished. And I'll explain this in an actual example, but it's just so that you can see it. You know that I'm all about like the big picture and then the specifics. So the goal that they have that you have already accomplished, for example, if we were talking about Sean and you're talking about clarity and success, we would look at the angle of, All right, so for me, if you are someone struggling to have the clarity that you need, if you're stuck, if you're overwhelmed, if you're spinning your wheels or whatever it is because you don't know what to do, this is what I know. I used to be exactly where you are, and you would use a different wording for that. But that in psychology, what you're actually telling them is, I know you want this. I've been where you are. Here's what I did. Here's how you can do it too. So that is what builds a lot of the know, like, and trust factors. One of the big problems that we have with marketing is that we try to show ourselves as the experts without showing how we struggle to reach the outcome. And so most people end up hiring people that they can see that are like the underdog, if you wanted to see it that way, right? The person that really wanted what they want, that struggled like they are struggling, and who had to make, you know what I mean, and got the breakthrough to be on the other side. So a lot of the time when the marketing is just like, do you want to make 6K? I can help you make 6K. People are like, get away. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. If you start adding some of your own struggle, your own pain, that's what creates that connection between that person and you, and that's what sets you apart as the coach they have to work with. So it's not just that you're telling me that you know what you're doing, it's that you had to go through it, what makes me trust you. So Coral, for example, since I know a lot more about you, like Coral is one of my clients, and Coral just did 300 clients through her tax business in the last 90 days, right? So you have 300 people who bought your services and who actually made it happen. If all you go around is saying, do you want to have your own business? Do you want to do so and so and this and that? And you're like, I had 300 clients in the last 90 days. Let me help you do it. People won't necessarily buy. They would be like, oh, I'm so proud of you. That's so cool, right? But they won't necessarily buy from Coral. What's going to start getting Coral's people to feel like that she's pulling them from their heart? You know what I mean? Like, from the heart to the program? Before I did 300 people in the last 90 days, I struggled like crazy. I was coming up, do you see what I'm saying? And when she starts going into what they are going through right now, that's when people are like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I wanted. And she struggled with exactly what I'm struggling with. She gets me. And so if you've been where I've been, you've overcome, and you are where I want to be, and you're telling me, listen, not only did I get 5 to 10 clients, I got 300 people in 90 days, and I did it 2 years in a row. Now, not only do I feel that you're like my best friend and that I love you because you finally get me, and you're not just BSing, because there's no way that someone could make up that they were crying in the car, considering to start driving in Uber because they didn't have enough money to build their business, and they were freaking out and they wanted to give everything up. Do you see what I'm saying? And they were ending the year like feeling like that, what the heck is going on? And then all of the sudden that happens. 90 days later, you went from wanting to join Uber as a woman driving Uber because you couldn't make enough money and you were going to leave your 2 daughters at home with someone at night so that you could have the business open during the day, and at night you were going to do the Uber. Do you see what I'm saying? People feel that. She gets it. She has struggled. Holy cow. Do you see what I'm saying? So people that have never thought about doing Uber to be able to pay their bills are like, dang, she had it worse than me, and she had 300 clients 90 days later. So think about that. Where were you and what was going on in your life whenever you were where your ideal clients are right now? Because if you have overcome where they were, most likely your current examples are not necessarily going to resonate with them enough. So you're always trying to see, for example, whenever I'm thinking about what happened in 2017, which was around May of 2017, whenever I was like, I am so done with this. I am so done. I had paid like over $30,000 to that point, and I am like, I am not spending the family refund again on this business. This business is a freaking black hole. Do you know what I mean? I started this business so that I could make money, and this business is now more expensive than our son Julian. Whenever I started thinking about where I was at that time. It wasn't, my thoughts were not just like, do you want more clients? Are you ready for da-da-da-da? My thoughts were around, I took the business route because I wanted to create more freedom, more impact, and more cash for my family and the people that I'm here to serve. And I just feel like a failure because I have more debt than I had when I started. This is like, it's like all of that psychology, the fear of failure, all of that stuff. But one of the things that I knew is that I was spinning my wheels. I was doing a bunch of stuff, but I wasn't getting results. So that's why I lead a lot of the time with game plan, because having a game plan, like not spinning my wheels anymore, not just throwing spaghetti at the wall, changed my life. And having the right game plan for me. In my case, it was and I can tell you really quick, in my case, one of the things that changed everything in my business was figuring out how could I do programs and one-on-one. That was the biggest thing. Because what was happening at the time was that I kept trying to hit 5 to 10K months, but I was only selling $1,000 programs. And selling the $1,000 programs, everyone would get on the phone with me and be like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I need. And from every 10 people, 10 hours after sales calls, 2 people would sign up. And then again, and then again. So I was like 20-hour sales calls for 4, do you see what I'm saying? For 4 clients. And then by the time those were over, it was like just this constant chasing. And I'm like, I know I am meant to serve hundreds of people at a time. I know that in my heart, I feel my calling is to serve and touch millions of lives before I die. This cannot be the way, because it's going to take forever. And that's when I realized I need to create a program that allows me to have a pool of ideal clients that are ready to my one-on-one. But I need to stop leaving so much money on the table. That strategy changed everything in my business. Because what started happening is that I started launching programs. A lot of you know the story. I started launching programs, and as I would launch my program, then a number of people will go into my one-on-one. I would launch the program again, more people will go. And so it became a cycle. So then this leads to the last one, conversion. So now we have attracted them with your core message. We are engaging them because you're sharing your stories, you're sharing the how you did it, you're sharing what your clients have done, and really leading with that marketing that is really specific to them. Now we're moving to the third step, which is conversion. And conversion is all about, here's the secret. Conversion is not really about selling. Again, conversion is about helping your people move into action. So the term that we would use in business is selling. But selling a lot of the time puts a lot of pressure on us and doesn't allow us to really show up and call people out, because it's like in this sales call, I don't want to come across as too salesy. I don't want people to be this and that about me. And it just makes it kind of about you, because you're thinking selling means that they're saying yes to giving me the money. That's not what it is about. The sales conversations, any kind of conversations where people are going to be signing up to anything you have, is actually them saying yes to the calling in that area. So for example, Gina, if I was thinking about you, I would be thinking about, so God is calling, and I use God, I don't know what, like if you say God, but like, for example, if you're saying like, God is calling, I'm going to say that your ideal client name was Sue. It is? That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. Whoa, that's crazy. Okay, so let's say God was saying, Sue, I want you to see it. So Sue, I'm calling Sue to serve 3 people in what's left of the year. An example, 3 people. She's stuck. she's freaking out. It's not just about her making money. It's that there's 3 people she's meant to help. And let's say that Sue is a fitness coach, and those 3 people need to lose weight so that they don't get depressed before December, right? So here's how it looks. For those 3 people to lose weight, Gina has to show up and help Sue take action. So that's what sales are really about. Sales are about the results that will happen if Sue takes or doesn't take the action. When I am focused on that, I don't care to talk about money. I'm good with talking about whatever objection you have. I can show up and be so confident and bold and not get caught up in my own story. Why? Because I know that unless Sue signs up for my 6-month program, she's going to keep spinning, spending money in stuff that won't really help her. And those 3 people are not getting the help they need. So whenever you see it that way, you're going to start spinning, like accelerating the results. So in your case, that's what I want you to think about. What would happen if Sue says yes? What would happen if Sue says no? You need to get in front of these 6 Sues and really make it happen so that they can end the year the way that it is. So whenever we're talking sales, that's the way that I'm coming into sales. Right now, normally, and I'm not just like fluffing on you, in these last 51 clients I've got in the last 5 months, and a lot of you know the story and all of that stuff, but let's talk specifically in the last 5 months. These 51 clients that have come through 2 group programs and 101, okay? So these 51 people have come in these 2 ways. I have done less than 10 sales calls. And from those 10 sales calls, again, I don't have any reason to be like bragging and making it sound like what it's not. I have had over an 80% conversion rate. Here's why. Because the sales call is not about me. Does that make sense? I'm not showing up freaking out about, is she gonna buy, is she not gonna buy? If I'm doing a sales call, which I use other methods, for me, if I'm getting in a sales call with someone, I have to be clear, love it, 90 to 95%, that's awesome. So for me, if I'm getting on the call with someone, I have to know that that person's ready to take action. There might just be something blocking her or blocking him from moving forward. The majority of people, I actually do more voice message. And those of you who are in Slay, you know more of my strategy around that. Because of, cool. So not your new group program. So for group programs, a lot of the time I actually do like WhatsApp or the Facebook Messenger so that I can talk back and forth without getting on the phone where people are telling me like, oh, I have to think about it. I have to process it. By the time we're getting on the phone, I want to know that you have had time to think about it and process it so that we can actually get to a solution. So how can you shift some of that? And so here's the thing. If the goal is to help people take action, everything from that first post is connected to the person saying yes. And that's what helps us to accelerate the process even with the online content. Because what I know is when I said, for example, are you getting ready to pull out that resume? That person who's going to interact with the post, I already know that the answer is yes. Which means that the answer to joining the program, it's also yes. Do you see what I'm saying? So what I have to do is to help them move quickly into action through my marketing. So here's the last part. What I want you to think about, since this 3rd step is around your strategy, is to think about what is it that you need to get clear on to be able to attract the people that you want? What do you need to get clear on to be able to attract the people that you want? You can tell me in the chat, you can tell me in the Facebook, on the Facebook Live that is up, and you can tell me on the replay on the comments area where we're going to set this up. So if you're watching the replay, cool. So sharing more of your personal story. That's awesome. So one of the big things, I love that. One of the big things is going to be then attracting them with the pain point and bringing your story right after, you know? So it's having that in mind and tweaking it. I love that. So getting really clear on how am I going to attract these people? If you're saying you want 6, right? Yours is 6. If you're saying you were 6, if you're saying that you want 100, I know some people said 30, someone else said 5. I think those were the numbers. But it doesn't matter, whatever it is. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to double that number in the number of people you need to attract. So if you told me I need to, so yours was 3, and then I said double it to 6, right? So now that means that we need 12 people. So here's kind of how I think about it. Part of the way I see it is, so if I want to reach, for example, 100 clients, I'm like, okay, so I want 100 clients. Since that number is bigger, my conversion rate might change, right? Like if you were looking for the group program, your conversion rate might be more like 75%, right? Rather than the 90 to 95, because there's just more people. It just plays that way. So let's say if it's 75% or 50% or however much, I'm going to double that number to factor that in. So in your case, like for example, one of the goals that I would set up, Brian, you're saying 5. So in the next 90 days, what I would do is that if I'm saying 5, hold on, Brian, is 5 your number or is that the double? Is your number 10 or is your number 5? Remember that it was to double that thing? Okay, so let's go with Gina, let's go with yours. I know that Sean was telling me that she needed to go and pick up her son, her kids, because she's in California, so they were getting out of school. And then Coral, I don't remember what it is that you said. But whoever's watching this, so listen, if you are saying, I'm gonna go with Gina's. Gina's, you're saying 5 is the goal. You're good. So yours is 10, Brian. So here's what it is. In my case, I would do this. So if your goal is 10 and we're saying 20, I would say I need to reach out to a total of 20 to 40 people, for example. Gina, if you're saying that your number is 3, we're talking 6, I would be doing at least 18 people. So I am either doubling it or tripling it. And so here's what would happen. And here's where people get a little messed up, is that I wouldn't be like, and so hold on, Pachi, are you saying 18 in 90 days? I'm gonna give it to you straight. I would say 18 every month until we reach the people. So it all depends on what it is. Does that make sense? I want to fracture it and to count in as much as I can so that I can actually hit the numbers. I don't want for the 3 people to come at the end of the 90 days, right? Because then I'm going to be freaking out by the end of that time, and then I'm not going to. So I want those people to come in as fast as possible. So in my case, one of the things that I do is that I normally set monthly goals. There you go. 120 day goal. So are you saying 120 for 90 days? Can you tell me in there? Sorry. And you can talk too, like you can unmute yourself. In 4 months. Okay, so 120, that would be about how much? I'm sorry, my math is not that good. It should be, I was a teacher, I know. 30 people, cool. 30 people a month. That's 30 people a month. So that means that you need to start thinking, what's going to be my strategy to get 30 people a month into this one place, into a workshop, into a webinar, into a challenge, into a conversation, into whatever it is. How am I going to leverage my time? How am I going to overcome as many objections as possible before someone gets on my sales call or with me on the phone? Because one of the reasons why a lot of the time people get on the call with us and then they're like, oh my gosh, I have to think about it. I got to pray about it. I got to talk to my husband about it. It's because we are catching them up and offering the sales calls at the beginning of the cycle. So it's like we're attracting them with the sales call. But they haven't engaged with us to have enough information. They haven't engaged with us to know our process enough. And so that's what they're struggling to make a decision faster. So I want to challenge you to get your people to make a decision faster before they get on the phone with you. So for example, one of the things that I would say, Gina, is like, if let's say that we were working together, I would say, so Gina, what do you like? Do you like video? Do you like teaching? Do you like this? So we would create a strategy on your content for those 90 days. And let's say that you said, you know what? I love teaching. So if you're saying I love teaching, I would be like, cool. So what would be a good workshop that you could create that would lead people directly into the new program that you have or the 101? And we could, depending on what you're looking at, it might be, and I'm just going to challenge you, Gina, do you have a regular job, or are you just in your business? Business? Do you have kids? Two? How many hours do you have a day, like in a week, to work on your business? So what I would say, I'm going to challenge you with something. Can I challenge you with something? Other people in here know me. I was looking at Renee. Was yours? Oh, they're teens. Lucky. Renee has the same situation. She has a teenager. Renee, how many people did you say? Did you say 30? And then Brian, I know that you said that 5. So Brian, we're talking about 10, between 5 and 10. So here's what I want you to think about. Whenever you're selling on the attraction point of the cycle, people tend to fall off faster because they're not emotionally connected with you yet. Cool, you said 100. Cool, based on your current sales. Awesome. So if you're saying 100, we need to think about how can we leverage our time and kill as many objections as possible in one solid moment. So that a lot of the time is either a challenge, a workshop, or something like that. So for example, if you're using Facebook Live to grow your business online, a lot of the time, if you're just selling on your Facebook Live, it might be harder to get people because that's the attraction point or the engagement point. What makes it easier is if you're beginning to do nuts and bolts and pieces on your content and on your attraction content, and you're bringing everybody together into something where you have them, listen to this, where you can touch them between 3 and 7 times. So if you do, for example, a 5-day challenge, just an example, if you do a 5-day challenge and you recorded the 10-minute video before, right? Like before they went into they actually access the dates, and then you have a few Facebook Live, 2 Facebook Live, that's 7 touches in that 5-day period. That increases the conversion. That it's like what I was saying. It's like, I know this is what you want. I know these are the blocks. This is how we remove the blocks. Are you ready to go? I know this is what you want. I know these are the blocks. Do you see what I'm saying? These are the steps to move the block. Are you ready to go? So by the time people are coming and interacting with you, they already know, yes, this is who I am. Yes, these are the blocks. Yes, this is what I want. I need help right now. Awesome. So the client avatar, 25 opt-ins. Did anybody converted from that? So you're not being aggressive enough. So yeah, and it's just being more specific. So it's like getting on, okay, so you're saying that you want clients, you're saying that you want you're about to, you see what I'm saying? So it's really focusing in, because here's the thing, is that same thing. If my hair is on fire, I'm using the hair is on fire as an analogy, but like if my hair is on fire, and the being on fire means I'm about to have to turn in resumes, if you're not aggressive enough, I might think that you can't really help me. So your aggressiveness on content and on showing up, it's more like you're putting fire on my butt of, if you turn that resume, it's because you want to. If you turn that resume, it's because you're giving up. You're not saying that, but your insistence on talking to me about this sends that message to my brain of, there are, in other words, it's like the message of, there are options, I'm just not taking it. So I better get my butt into gear and actually do it. So thinking about it that way. With the ideal client avatar, that could be really good. Are you okay if I give you like a little bit of feedback? Yeah. So I'm thinking about your people, right? Sue is wanting to launch her business before the end of the year. We're really close to the end of the year. So she pretty much have 90 days to get her buy going. So part of what I would think about on a webinar would be, what does she like knows that she needs that's gonna get her to like jump in? It doesn't mean that you change the client avatar, but it might be that the avatar is like one of the steps. You know what I mean? So, because we know she needs the client avatar, but if I only have the client avatar and I'm about to turn in my resume, that title might not necessarily say, put the resume away, watch this webinar first. That's kind of like where she's at. So that's what I would like really get on. Exactly. So I'm like, listen, don't turn in the resume yet. Let's do the game plan or the roadmap for you to get those clients in 90 days. In this webinar, we're talking about, for example, how to really identify what your ideal, what your ideal client wants right now to be able to, like, you know what I mean? I would come more from like, for her to feel, I will walk away from here with the clarity. I will walk away from here with the plan. I would walk away from here with the, like what you're saying, with a roadmap. So here's kind of how it would look like, Gina. It would be more, yeah. That's what I would do that. Yeah, because so, and you can open it to other people, like you would target them and open it to a bigger group. You have to really drive with pain points right now because of what we're talking about. Like, and then this is one of the things you have to think. It's funny, but especially in the online world, you have to think a little bit, cool. So you have to think a little bit about the distractions your people are having. So for example, some of the distractions your people are about to start having is that there's about to be a lot of people selling group programs for next year. That's a really big distraction. So a lot of people start selling their group programs for January. They start in October. So the thing is, if you see it about it again, to me it's more like the psychology to help you take action faster. If you don't get on it quickly enough and you run, for example, like 2 of these webinars or 1 of these webinars every week, if you don't get on it, your Sue is going to get sidetracked by someone that's going to say, just wait till next year. So when you see it from that perspective, that also creates that urgency and that aggressiveness in your marketing. And you can even say that what you need is not another program in January. You have 4 months. You can definitely get your next 5 clients in 4 months. But it's like so specific because we know that if she's just starting out, she's looking for similar 3 to 5 clients. That's going to prove that she can do it so that she can go big in January. Like, we know she's in that place. So we really need to get clear on that. Renee, in your case with the 100 clients, what is it that you need right now? Since I'm not seeing you here, if you can give me a little bit more, Renee, so I can help you. So if we have 100 people and Renee knows how to kill it in this area and her thing, if we need 100 clients, and Renee, I'm taking that these are like AFLAC clients. Cool. So they're AFLAC clients. So Renee kills it with AFLAC. She sells insurance and stuff like that and moving more into coaching, transitioning. So if you're saying that you have 100, Brian, you are saying Brian is a coach and Brian is saying that he needs 5 to 10 people. It's that same strategy of, I want you to, like, with what we're talking, that we're talking more general. Exactly. So what is the strategy that you need to take to book these group meetings? And I know that you have done this a lot in the past. So for me, with you, it's looking more at what has worked to go at it like crazy. So I'm going to give you guys a quick example. So for example, once I know what I want, one of the things that I think about is, okay, so if I know that I want is this, and I know, for example, that that B, my ideal client, if I know that B, it's right now it's spinning with this or doing that or da-da-da-da, what I do is that I imagine like if I'm almost having a meeting with that person. What would need to happen for me to help that person move into action? So everything that I'm doing is really specific, really concise. Does that make sense? And I'm just executing. Because whenever you get into execution, so for example, Gina, if you're like, this is gonna be my my webinar, and Renee, if you want to tell me how would you normally book some of those group meetings so that I can give you more specific. And then Brian, where are we going to be reaching out and connecting with these 10 people so that I can give you more specifics? So since I have Gina's right here, let me do this really quick. So like Gina, in your case, what I would be looking at is the faster that I'm able to map out what the webinar is going to be about, the faster I can only focus in welcoming people to the webinar. So in some ways, for example, if you said, I'm going to do one webinar a week, because I am for real about this thing. It doesn't matter if the webinar is with 5 people, with 10 people, I don't even care. It's gonna be, this is what I'm doing. So if you set that, what we would get clear on, what is your weekly game plan? So we're not thinking about the 90 days. We know that in 90 days, we want that many people. I would challenge you, which is something that I meant to say, I would challenge you to get 6 people into the group program and 3 people into the one-on-one. Do you see what I'm saying? Because then in the group program, you would start preparing the next 3 to join by the time the group program's over. But so let's say that you said that, we would create so let's say the webinars are going to be on Thursdays. I'm just saying a day. Thursdays afternoon. So the whole week, what you're going to be planning is, how am I going to get these 30 people, or 30 since you had 120, 30 divided by 4, it's about 7 people, right? 30 divided by 4, yeah, like 7.5 people. How am I going to do, or what do I need to focus on to get 7 to 10 people into this webinar every single week? Does that make sense? So then your brain, it's going to begin to come up with ideas. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, let me send the message on Monday. I'm sending message to all these people. I might be messaging directly to everybody on my Facebook group. It might be, you know what I mean? There's so many different ways, but once you know what the goal for the week is. So with Coral, let me give you a quick example, since all of you have numbers that are lower than the 300 that we did with Coral. Here's what we did. With Coral, it was, okay, so you need to reach 300 people to hit your goal. Fine. How many people do you need to have booked for every single day of the tax season to be able to make that happen? So from what I remember, it was between 4 and 6 people. She needed to have book appointments between 4 and 6 people every single day of the 5 days of the week to hit that goal. So what ended up being is that every Monday, what Coral needed to look at was just her calendar. So she would look at, oh, I have 2 appointments for this week. That meant she needed to go like crazy at reaching out to people directly, doing a couple of Facebook Lives. You know what I mean? We had a strategy on how are we going to fill the appointments. The time that she was like, and this is exactly what started happening, the time that she started filling the appointments ahead of time, it would become easier. Because then she started saying, oh, now I have all the appointments booked that I need for next week and for this week. So now I can go on vacation with my family for the weekend. So we started playing because we knew as long as she has this many, it's going to be easier to convert. So in your case, Gina, for example, if we are like, I'm just saying, if you were to do it once a week, if you were like, well, that's too much, I'm going to do the workshop 2 times a month. Cool. That just means 15 people in every workshop, right? Because from the 15 people, if you convert that many, that means that you get those 3 clients at the end of, so it's just thinking about it that way. And so whenever your focus becomes, I'm going to serve them, and the way to serve them, for example, is this workshop, or the way to serve them is going to be this, or it's going to be that, and I'm helping them through this, then the sales becomes a no-brainer. Because to go through your workshop and then for you to, Yeah, so for example, if you did the workshop, because you have time in your hands, right? You have teenagers and stuff like that, and you did the workshop and you said, it's just going to be the same workshop. I just need to get in front of different people. This is just an example. Like you can use other stuff. But the reason why I like the workshop is because people have you like in that specific amount of time. If you said, this is what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do Facebook ads because I only need 15 people and I'm going to really accelerate this stuff. People can book a sales call with me right after the workshop. By the time that they get on the call with you, if you have a 95% conversion rate, those sales calls are going to go like this because they're already knowing before they get on the call. So consider something like that. And then I'm looking at Renee, you're saying most of mine. So pre-enrollment videos. Cool. So Renee, like what I would look at, okay, so if I'm saying 100, again, I'm going to go with you the same thing, the same way that I would go for me, Renee. I would look, okay, so if I want to reach 100, my goal is going to be to get at least 300 people to watch these pre-enrollment videos. Or if there's somebody else making the decision for them, then I'm going to get this number of people to do da-da-da-da-da. So it would be, what is it that I need to do to get 2 times or 3 times the number of people watching the videos so I can increase the conversion rate? So for example, if we were saying that you want to reach 100 in 3 months, I would be like, can you focus on reaching 100 in a month? Because then from that 100 each month, total of 300, for example, if we wanted to hit before December comes in, then we know. Do you know what I mean? We know that you can hit that number. The secret here for the hitting your number is focusing on the service, focusing on this cycle of the service, the 3-step service. So my 4th step and my final step, yeah. So it's you go at it like crazy. Everybody on the video. Why do we need to watch the video? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I know that you know how to do this. So it's more on focusing on that number. So if I was doing 100 people, that means 25 people every week watching that video on a 4-week month, and that means 5 people a day on a 5-day work week. So like with Renee, I would literally what I had with Coral, and what I do myself is I write down, for example, 300 people, or I write it down somewhere, and so I'm filling up. Monday, 5 people. If I don't have 5 people that I know that are watching that video, then that day my entire focus is before the end of the day, 5 people need to watch this. If I got behind one day and I'm on Wednesday and only 2 people have watched, I know that I have, right, 8 people. So today I have to add it up. And that is just a game number. It's a game number when you get to that point. Is I'm serving this many people so that the right people get them out. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm already at 100 and I don't have my 100 people, cool, keep going. Do you see what I'm saying? How many do you have? How many more do you need? Adjust the number. And so here is where my 4th step comes in. And this is the part where most people get stuck. It's on align hustle, or align implementation. So step number one was clarity. We got clear on what you wanted, what you're saying, this is the thing that I need to do before the end of the year so that I can feel that I did what I really wanted to do. Step number 2 is we clear the blocks that are keeping you from that one goal. Step number 3 is we're creating the strategy, and the strategy is where service comes in. People who are thinking on strategy just on marketing terms don't normally hit the goal, because they're not focused on service the number of people. So it's just a number. The strategy is a numbers game. How do we get these people to complete the cycle? If we have launched for example, the ideal client avatar, 25 people sign up in a month, that's actually a good number for you, because you're saying that all you need is this number of clients. Has anyone reached out for for the sales call? Have anyone reached out? You have? One, did she sign up? She's on the fence. So here's what I would do. All of my marketing content would be for that person that's on the fence. She becomes the ideal client. So it's like bam, 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 bam. So and she sees it every day, and she's like, "Why does this woman keep dialing my number?" What's going? So that's the perfect person, because you don't have to wonder what she needs or what's going on. She's on the fence. Think about like all your people like her. And so that's all about strategy. Strategy is about service. The last step is align implementation. So if you're talking about, and what I like to call the align hustle. So what is the align hustle? It means that now that we know this strategy, we don't just know your 90-day strategy. We know your weekly strategy, which I just talked about a little, and we know your daily strategy, which I cover a little bit. That means that every day you're not freaking out. Every day you're not spinning your wheels. You're literally going, God, you put in my heart to serve these 6 people. Who do I need to reach out today to invite to the workshop? Who do I need to reach out today to invite to the sales call? Who do I need to reach out today to ask or to follow up? Because these Sues need me. Because I know that Sue is freaking out. You know what I mean? So when I'm creating content, God, what do I need to talk to Sue about so she can take it serious and sign up for the workshop? What do I need to talk to Sue about? So every day, I'm not waking up to freak out. So Renee, it would be more about, God, who do I need to reach out to for these 5 people that need to watch the video today? God, am I forgetting anybody? So all my journaling, all my stuff is 5 people. And so what ends up happening is that creates, it's literally like a snowball. And that snowball leads directly to your people. And because your cycle is working for them, which the cycle is equal transformation, even before they start working with you, they already have more clarity, they have more commitment, they have more focus, they are more confident, they're like ready to go. Those are normally the star clients, because those are the people that are ready to take action and see results. Because you have taken them through the process and you have been priming them for your program. Those are the people that don't normally say, oh, I have to discontinue my work with you. Oh, I have to pause my stuff with you. No, because they're like, I know, but I need to do this. I know. Do you see what I'm saying? They came in already mentally primed to go at it and to commit to the whole process. So do you have any questions for me on this? Again, I have used this. I love this process, and I love it so much because I feel that whenever I started doing this, it simplified the whole thing for me. It simplified the way that I was showing up. I started doing these 51 clients that I did in the last 5 months. I was working less than 10-hour weeks because, again, awesome. You're so welcome. The reason why I was working less than 10-hour weeks is because I know exactly what I needed to focus on. In my case, I needed 10 clients a month. So what ended up happening is that there were months that I actually did more. So then I just adjusted at the end. The formula for the 7 touches, so that's more around creating. That's what you would normally create, kind of like your launch plan. So if I was looking at my 90 days, how do I want to touch these people? And how fast do I want to touch them? So normally what we would do is that you were actually breaking it down into months. So for example, month 1 would be all focused on attraction. It's kind of how I do it. So we create, and I help my clients create all the content for month 1, all around attract, right? Doesn't mean that you're not selling, but you're creating a lot of eyes getting onto your content, people really getting into that. Month 2, I continue to attract, but I start massive engagement. So a lot of the time, there's more people signing up, for example, for the workshop or for the freebie or for the sales call or the assessment, because now there's more people seeing it, right? It works because of the algorithms, because more people, because more time and all that stuff. Then month 3, I'm still attracting and engaging, but I am really driving with a lot of fire of the time is now, the time is now, the time is now. So I am following up with a lot of people. A lot of the time, if people started seeing me 90 days ago, they're more ready to buy because I have taken them through my cycle. And so here's my other secret. Most times I'm able to repurpose my content 90 days from now. Because it's just cycle. Whenever I have to add something, whenever I have to modify something, if I'm feeling like a download, it's added. But the content, the heart of the content is still the same thing. You need to have a clear focus. You need to clear the mindset. You need to have a strategy, and we need to take action now. Those are my 4 steps. So you're always hearing me in one way or another talking about that, because at the end of the day, this is what I know that my people need. My people need the aligned action. The reason why they're not getting the clients is because, for example, they might not be specific enough. They're not focused enough. The content is not in alignment. They're not. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, you're so welcome. So welcome. So here's the thing. If some of you, I know several of you know about Slay. Renee, I know that you're in Slay. I'm so excited to have Brian as well. And several of you who I see that are watching through Facebook as well. Here's the thing that I have right now. I would love for you to join us inside Slay. I can share the link. I don't want to take a lot of time right now going into a lot of the details because I would want you to look at what is actually offered. But Slay is my 90-day bootcamp. Here's what we do inside Slay. I actually help you take to the next level these 4 steps we just talked about. So normally, Renee just joined like less than a month ago, and you were just telling me that you went through module 1. Yeah, I'm so glad that you're loving it. So like one of the things that we do is really clear on your vision. I am not just interested in your vision for the next 90 days. I want to know where you see yourself between the next 3 and 5 years. Here's the reason why. Because where you see yourself in the next 3 and 5 years, it's going to influence the kind of business model that we use for you today. And so, for example, if you see yourself, if you're like, I see myself actually serving hundreds of people a month or hundreds of people a year, then I know that it's impossible for you to do it with 101. We need to start transitioning into this. Does that make sense? So it's going to influence where God is taking you. That's going to influence a lot what we focus on. Then what I do right after that is we create an aligned offer. So for example, if we're talking about Sue, since you would just share that was your name, Gina. So if we're talking about Sue, what's the aligned offer that God has put in Gina's heart to give to Sue so that Sue doesn't have to go for the business or for the 9 to 5. All about that, creating and aligning your offer. Then we get massive. You guys know that I'm all about content. It's one of my things. And programs are actually like my favorite jam. So a lot of the time is, how do we scale up so you can focus more of your attention on engagement and sales? That is like the little secret. Once you have the signature system, all your time is just about engagement and conversion. And so that's why you're able to make more money. That's why I've done 80 clients in 12 months, working the 10-hour week. That's why Coral, for example, the 300 clients, because when you have that system, you become known for that system. So I have a lot of people reaching out to me for Slay because they know, oh, she's the woman that helps people do the Slay your months, right? So if you are ready for that, let me see what you're saying. God has placed you in our path for a season. I have no doubt about my sales will increase. I know. Even after 12 years in sales, that's awesome. Thank you, Renee. So for me, the big deal is, so if you're thinking about Slay, here's why I would consider signing up for Slay this month, which you only have like a week left, like 3 days, right? 3 or 4 days left till Friday. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm offering you. I am offering a 90-minute session, one-on-one session with me for anyone who signs up for Slay this week. So here's what that covers. You get the entire Slay program for as little as $147. It's the payment plan. $147. You get access to the entire module group, which is 6 modules of attracting, engaging, and converting. The next thing that you get is that you get access to the Facebook group where all of my people are hanging out. And then on top of that, we have the bi-weekly group calls. I run the group calls similar to today, just that I'm not teaching the whole time. So in our Facebook groups, in our group calls, what's going to happen is that you're actually going to come in with the goal. So for example, 6 clients or 12 clients or 100 clients, and I'm helping you take action fast. Here's why, because the faster you take action, more focused action, the faster that snowball moves. So for me, whenever you get clear on this, and once you pay for Slay one time, you can take it again, what's going to happen is this, that every 90 days, we're scaling your business up. Instead of every 90 days, we're chasing for more people. Every 90 days, we're just scaling your business up. So if your goal for the next 90 days was, I need to hit the 5K months, that means that in the following 90 days, we would actually focus on, well, then you need to move into 10K months. 5K months means you have a solid system. 10K months means you're ready to really scale up. The only difference between 5K and 10K is more people. Leveraging to have more people. So if you're ready for that, I'm going to post the link here really quick, and then I'm going to let you guys go because I know it went a little longer. Slay work. Here, so it's bit.ly, slay, no, that's the one for today. Bit.ly, slay, bootcamp. Here it is. So, and I'll put it on the replay or for the inside Facebook. So I love you guys. I'm super excited that you are taking action on your dreams. This is the last thing that I want to leave you with. If you don't have any questions, if you guys have any questions, I have like 5 more minutes where I can answer anything for you guys. Here's the part that I want to leave you with about today. Whenever you realize, so this is my goal. These are the people that I know I am meant to serve. These are the people that I know that need my help and that will pay for my services. Here's what happens. The rest of your time, now you can focus on implementing and removing the blocks. What's going to happen is that right now you might feel like, woohoo, I can take on the world. And then tomorrow you're going to wake up, what the heck am I doing? Where are these people at? Blah, 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 blah. All we know is that, oh, here come these blocks trying to intimidate me again. And we just clear them again. So part of the thing about really moving fast for me comes in 2 ways. One is focusing really clear on those people and being unapologetic about reaching them, that's where your real power comes from. That is not about you, it's about them. It just happens to be that if they don't pay you, you have to go back to your own 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that. But the second thing is that we are constantly clearing and mastering the game plan and mastering your game, your mental game, so that you can stay focused, so that you can keep taking action instead of going into self-sabotage and freak out. That's how you keep doing quantum leaps, because every 90 days, you don't have a lot of time to be hijacked by negative thoughts or hijacked by not feeling good enough and the insecurities. You have, I have to reach 5 people today, so I don't have time for all of y'all. You gotta go. You know what I mean? I don't have time for all of you today. I need to get 15 people into this workshop. I'm really glad that you're feeling that you're not good enough. I'm sorry that you know what I mean, that your mama and your grandpa said that you shouldn't make money this way. I don't have time for you. I got 15 people that I need to reach out. So it becomes really easy to keep you accountable and to keep you moving. Because all I want to know is, did you reach the 15 people? No. What do we need to do that? Do you have the 6 people? No. Then let's go. What else do we need to do? And so you stay excited. I will close with this because I was laughing. Because my brother, I'm originally from Dominican Republic, for those of you that don't know, that's why I have my accent. My brother, he actually has a fitness coaching program, and it's so cool. He's already making over 10K months, but this is what was happening. He has this 8-week program, and he just launches it every other month. This is what was funny. We were talking on Monday because we keep each other accountable, and we're really like into it. He was saying, he had been struggling last week, and I'm like, okay, how many people do you need for the program this round? He said 40. Cool, how many people have you talked to? No, I was working on updating the branding. Oh, here's what happened. Just in that conversation, he realized, I'm working on the branding. Okay, how does working on the branding lead to the 40 clients? Shut up. Right? Like, this is literally the conversation. Shut up. All right, call me later. I'm not joking. I'm not making this up. On Friday, he had reached the goal that he needed to reach for that week. He had sold 7 clients in 3 days. Why? Because he stopped playing around. And he was like, well, I only have 3 days, so what's the easiest way to get these 5 to 7 people? Hit the goal on Friday, and then this is exactly what he said. I forgot how addicting it is to hear people say yes. And you know that because either in the business or in somewhere else, once you hear one yes, it's like you just can't stop. And that's where we need to get you to. Because when you're in that space, you are unstoppable. So my question is, what needs to happen for you to be in your flow so that you are ready to kick and scream by Monday, right? Monday is would be like if you were to start going and finalizing your plan right now. I want you to think about, so Monday the 3rd, where do you need to be ready to go on Monday? Meaning, knowing what the offer it is, knowing who it is that we want, and having this strategy. You see how long it took for us to do it, like about 2 hours, because I'm give and take, right? Like I'm just teaching and talking to you about different aspects. But if by Monday you said, by Monday, I need to start having 5 people a day. By Monday, I need to start having 7 people in the workshop. So in your case, for example, if it was for you, Gina, I would say, what do we need to do to launch the workshop by the 6th or the 7th of September, right? So if we were to launch the workshop by the 6th or the 7th, it could be that you actually do the workshop by the 6th or the 7th to these 25 people. Or it could mean that you start promoting it by the 6th or the 7th so that you can actually have the workshop on the 13th, let's say. But I would not go any longer than the 13th, because the 13th would actually give people enough weeks within that month to actually convert. So again, super simple. Those of you who are enslaved, back to school, what does that mean? What are you promoting? Gina, you can actually talk to me if you want. You want to talk? Here, there you are.
Hi.
Hey.
This has been fantastic. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. As a coach, it's hard to constantly coach other people, but when it's yourself, it's so obvious the messages are there. But so I just had a brainstorm yesterday, and I decided to do a cheers and tears on my Facebook group. So cheers for the entrepreneurs who are now going to get back to their business and finish the year strong, and tears for those people, the teachers, the students, and the 9-to-5ers who have to go back to their job. So I actually did a video today launching it, and I just created, like, I'm teaming up. I have a co-host, my virtual assistant, and we're going to do a whole, like, Monday through Friday thing, engaging people. So this has been perfect. So I was already along those lines. Monday I was thinking, like, what do I need to do? I need to shake things up.
Yeah. I love it. And so one of the things, for example, with Facebook Live, a lot of the time it's a little harder to sell and to close a sale with just Facebook Live, just because on average, people tend to not watch the whole thing, right? So, but a lot of the time, if we are actually looking at how can we use the Facebook Live to drive them into somewhere where they're going to stay to have the conversation, you know what I mean? And just thinking about it from that perspective and really closing it. So yeah, I love Facebook Live to engage with people, because people get a real feeling for who you are, your personality, your fun, right? Like, I love that. And I love your name, the cheer and tear, because I'm like, I either love it or I hate you right now. So yeah, that's a little of the pain.
That's speaking to the pain points.
Oh yeah.
It's like, sorry, 9-to-5ers, sucks for you.
Yeah. I would be like,
that's the pain. That's a dig, right?
Yeah, I love it. But since you're making it fun, it's like it stings, but at the same time, it makes me snap out of it. Like, I'm willing to get this going if I want to not have to return in January.
Right. So now I'm going to be a little more aggressive. I think I was just being too nice and not pushy enough.
Yeah. And I love that. So one of the reasons why I find that we might not be aggressive enough is if we are in some way not focused enough on what's at stake for them. Right? Because like once I know what's at stake for you, if I see that you're going down that, like the rapids, right? Like I'm not going to be like, you should consider, I'm going to be on your face. And I'm going to really be like driving that point. So I love that you're doing that. So awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you to people on Facebook for joining us as well. I'm sorry I have not looked at it a lot, but I will come back and answer any questions. I'm going to answer any questions. I want you to think about what I was just sharing. If you are like, I need someone to help me stay focused, I need someone to give it to me straight, I need someone to look at my stuff and give me feedback, I would love to support you. The reason why Slay is so cheap, if you were to think about it, because it's just $147, the payment is because I'm really, really committed to helping as many people as possible to slay the 5 to 10K month. Why 5 to 10K month? Because of what I said earlier. 5K just means you have a solid system. You're not struggling. You're not freaking out. You're not wondering if the business is going to take off. We know that it works. We know that there's people needing it. We know that. And then the 10K month is because now that we have that system, you are actually focused on scaling it up. 90 days at a time is all you need to go to the level that God's calling you so that you can reach the people that you need to reach. So I love you guys. Have a good night, and I hope to hear from you soon. If you are ready, you can go to here to the link on the sales call on the sales page. If not, if you have any questions, just reach out to me by Messenger, since this is a smaller group and the rest of the group of people are here on Facebook, reach out to me by Messenger. Any questions or anything, I'm available for you. And remember that thing of having the intensive with me expires this weekend. So I want to be able to talk to you and help you. Bye.